Hey, what's up guys? We're back, new week, new walk. I'm here hanging out in the little point of a Greenbelt Park here in Staten Island. This week, since it is Avengers Endgame week, we are talking about Marvel. Hopefully you can hear me over both the rain, which I'm getting a little wet, and the surf that's right here behind me. So today I'm going to talk about my top 10 favorite Marvel movies. I figure this is a good thing to do just because with any person that you listen to, it's good to get an idea of where they're coming from. Because if you don't know what they like and don't like, it's hard to really kind of see where their opinions come from, and it helps you understand them a bit better. So here are my top 10 Marvel movies, starting with number 1, Captain America Civil War. Oh, nope, backwards. Captain America Winter Soldier. We're getting Civil War later. Captain America Winter Soldier is my favorite Marvel movie because it's one of the first movies to really have a villain that you care about. Bucky Barnes, which you were introduced to in the previous Captain Marvel movie, Captain Marvel the First Avenger, he really comes back in a way that's heartwarming. It has an instant connection between the hero and villain that carries on to future films. It establishes a whole bunch. Captain America Winter Soldier is definitely one of the best Marvel movies of all time. Number 2, the first Marvel movie, which is my second favorite Marvel movie, is Iron Man. That movie came out at a time when there wasn't a ton of other great comic book movies. It and Dark Knight came out, I think, the same year. I'm not 100% on that, but I believe they came out the same year, and they knocked everyone's socks off. They were fantastic to watch. They were super well put together. They felt great. The casting was great. Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark is perfect. The Iron Man suit was really well done. The interior HUD, like it or not, was really super cool. It was what started all of this, and therefore it is definitely one of my favorite Marvel movies. Number 3, Marvel The Avengers. That first Avengers movie, while it's not as big, it's not as flashy, Loki was a great villain. That movie was the first ensemble cast superhero movie to really knock it out of the park as far as story goes. All the characters had something to do almost all the time. You never felt like somebody was just kind of sitting in a back room waiting for stuff to happen. Marvel Avengers is just a reason there's now 4 or 5 Avengers movies, depending on how you want to count them. But Marvel Avengers takes number 3. Number 4, Black Panther. Similar to the first on this list, Black Panther has a sympathetic villain, great hero, great music, great special effects. It is an incredible movie, and if you have not seen Black Panther, it is one that you need to watch, especially if you intend on watching, well, now I guess going back and watching Infinity War and Endgame, because those two characters, or the main characters in that story, are pretty relevant and pretty important to the story going forward. Number 5 is Guardians of the Galaxy. This list could never be here without Guardians of the Galaxy because that movie was just, it was perfect. The characters were excellent, their dynamic was perfect, their humor was on point. It's the first, I think, genuinely funny Marvel movie. Because I think it even came out before the first Deadpool, which, if you count that as a Marvel movie, even though it's not in the MCU. But yeah, Guardians 1, number 5 on the list. It is amazing. Number 6, I'm gonna go with a kind of weird one for a lot of people. Thor Ragnarok. Ragnarok is basically just a space road trip movie with Hulk and Thor doing their Hulk and Thor things. It's not super deep, it's pretty tame, but it is awesome. I think the team up between those two needs to happen, and there needs to be more of it, and I'm really hoping post Infinity War, or post Endgame, we get the announcement of another Hulk and Thor movie, because those two are great together, and I need more of it. We need more of it. Same with Guardians 3, I can't freaking wait, because James Gunn is back in. Number 7 on my list. This is gonna go to Doctor Strange. It's gonna go to Doctor Strange because Doctor Strange is the weirdest movie in the MCU in a perfect way. Most of the other MCU movies tend to start to follow a cookie cutter format after a while, with only a few little subversions of expectation, like with the Mandarin and Iron Man 3 and a few other bits. Regardless how you feel, it was a good twist. To get back to it, Doctor Strange had such a good vibe and good feel to it, and no other Marvel movie has really replicated that recently. I think it's perfect. Number 8 on the list is going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp. It didn't get as much love, especially following Infinity War, but it was kind of the perfect moment for the perfect time, and also it's the only really good heist movie right now. It's my favorite, at least, heist movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Ant-Man and the Wasp, both great characters, well acted. The dynamic between Paul Rudd and his little band of merry men is great. They feel like just good friends that are just out having a good time and trying to survive and make it on their own, kind of pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. And also they do a great job of going between, like, almost pulling back the curtain a bit. This happened in the first Ant-Man movie, in that final fight where they're fighting in this in his daughter's room, and there's like a little like train set going around, and when you get up close, the villain and the hero are having this massive battle, and there's the big things being thrown and the train's crashing, and it's intense and violent, and then the camera will rip back and you'll see just like the train go bloop, and just like seeing that scale change is amazing. It's a great visual effect, and they only improve that, I think, in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So number 9 is, I think I promised before, Captain America Civil War. I think Captain America Civil War is my second favorite Avengers movie of all time. It is, the heroes are perfect. The introduction of Spider-Man is, I wish they didn't ruin it in the trailer, but the introduction of Spider-Man was phenomenal, because Tom Holland is my new favorite Spider-Man, hashtag he's my Spidey, whatever we want to make it. But yeah, it's an Avengers movie, whether you agree or not, that's up to you. But all the characters are there for the most part. They work together wonderfully as a team. They complement each other. I don't think the fight between Tony and Cap is done as well as it could be, but all in all, it's a great movie and one of my favorites in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And finally, we get to number 10, Spider-Man Homecoming. Kind of obvious with me talking about Spider-Man so much with Civil War, but Spider-Man Homecoming is kind of bringing Spider-Man officially back home to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the MCU. I can't wait for Far From Home. But with Spider-Man Homecoming, I loved the villain. I thought Vulture was just so well done by Michael Keaton. His aggression, he looked scary. He's honestly one of the only villains in the MCU that actually is terrifying. And also I love the use of Donald Glover as it would be Miles Morales' uncle, which if you've seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, you know who Miles Morales is, and you also know who Miles Morales' uncle is, at least in that universe, that version of the universe. But yeah, so Spider-Man Homecoming, number 10. That's my top 10 Marvel movies. If you agree with my list, like the video. If you don't agree with my list, like the video and then post your list in the comments. All suggestions, I'm open to all of them, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe is pretty much great end to end, with very few exceptions. They're great fun movies. They're good for kids, they're good for adults, they're good for teens, they're good for everybody. So if you haven't seen them, go watch them. There's 19 of them already. The big movie is coming out at the end of this week, Marvel Endgame. So if you're gonna see that, don't spoil anything in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been Walking and Talking episode 15. I will catch you all later, and tomorrow we will talk more Marvel movies. So join me then. Peace.